Yet another feature of microeconomics is it is based on certain assumptions. Yes, as we know in microeconomics, what we do? We go to the very micro, very small level of the bigger economic variable. So in order to go to a very small level of a bigger economic variable, we need to ensure that the other factors, other forces which are affecting the variables has to be avoided. So here in microeconomics, we do a lot of assumptions. One of the standard concept known as ceteris paribus, which means other things being constant. So there are various assumptions we make in order to keep other things constant, which means we try to keep everything under ceteris paribus. Assumptions like laissez-faire policy, pure capitalism, full employment, perfect competition, and so on and so forth. So a lot of assumptions make our study very simple, but unfortunately it becomes slightly unrealistic. But it helps us understand how economic variable affects another economic variable, and it helps us make the economic study or economic variable study very easy to understand. Let us understand these assumptions in a greater detail. The laissez-faire policy means there is no absolute zero intervention of government. So government does not introduce any subsidies, any taxation policies, any regulations. So as there is no intervention of government, it becomes a pure competitive market. So one of the important assumptions we make that there are no government interventions, that is called as laissez-faire policy, which helps us understand behavior of an economic variable to the purity, because a lot of business or economic activities get influenced due to subsidies, taxations, regulations of government policies. Hence, in order to understand the effect of a variable in a very crystal clear manner and for ease of understanding, one of the important assumption under ceteris paribus is laissez-faire policy, where there is absolute no intervention of government. Another assumption we make is pure capitalism, which means most of the business or overall economy has been controlled by private ownership. Most of the business owners are private owners. Even the factors of productions are also owned by private owners, which also leads to there is no government intervention. Also, the basic motive of pure capitalization is profit maximization. So, in reality, this is not possible always, but yes, this assumption makes our study simpler to understand. Another big important assumptions we make is full employment. In reality, it is not possible. But if it is a full employment, if we assume that in a market there is a full employment, so every buyer has sufficient money to satisfy its want. So there will be always demand for the product, and that assumption makes our understanding much more simpler, and we try to understand those microeconomical variables at a greater detail. Another important assumption which is market related is perfect competition. So we assume that there are enough number of buyers and enough number of sellers in the market, and there's a pure perfect competition, and the prices of commodities are fixed. So your demand and supply forces decide the price of the product or commodity, and so on and so forth. So these assumptions make our study very, very easy to understand. So, in order to make our study easy to understand and simpler in microeconomics, we do a lot of assumptions. We try to keep a lot of variable constant, and that is known as ceteris paribus, that other things being constant. And a lot of assumptions like laissez-faire policies, pure capitalism, full employment and perfect competition and so on and so forth. These kind of assumptions are made. It helps us make our understanding easy.